the Samyang 85mm F1.4. This is a good one. Okay, so before we jump into the review, I just want to say thank you so much for all the incredible support that you guys are giving me here through this channel. And there's so many of you that actually like these lens reviews that I've been doing lately. So I thought I'd keep going for a while, at least until I don't have any lenses left to review. But, you know, I guess we'll see. But anyway, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for all the comments and likes and everything that you guys do. If you haven't subscribed yet, you might want to consider doing that. But let's talk about the lens. Okay. The build quality of this lens is actually kind of solid, and it doesn't have any kind of buttons or switches or anything like that. And basically the only thing that it got is the focus ring. It does have a metal casing around the lens, which gives it kind of a clean and stylish look, and basically looks like a kind of a professional lens, even though it's not on par with the Sony G Master lens, but it still looks really good. And you also have the red stripe here that goes all the way around the lens, which is kind of a trademark for the Samyang lenses for Sony E-mount, I think. It is actually kind of a light lens, and if you compare it to the Sony G Master lens, which has the same aperture, then the G Master is actually 300 grams heavier than this lens. So I really like that it's such a lightweight lens, even though it's a big aperture on it. And if you compare them side by side, then this lens is actually smaller than the G Master as well. But it is still kind of a large lens. It's not a small lens. It's big. I mean, it's basically bigger than a coffee cup. The focus ring is a bit stiff, and it is not as precise as I would like it to be. Basically like nudges between the focus and when you're using manual focus. And it also has this like rugged metal on it instead of the rugged rubber that I personally like, because it gives you a better feeling and better precise touch to the focus ring. But the biggest reason that I don't like the rugged metal is because it will get scratched so incredibly easy. And the reason that I know that is because I got the exact same issue with my Sony size 16-35 lens. So I was actually quite surprised when I was looking for a weather sealing here in the back, because I did not expect this lens to have one, but it does have this like really small rubber gasket here in the back. But it's not the same thickness as the G Master or the Baddest lenses, but it is there, and it will probably prevent stuff from getting into your camera sensor, you know, like slight drizzle and small dust particles. Huge thumbs up, Samyang! Really good. The focusing distance is 90 centimeters or 2.95 feet for all you Americans out there. And that is 5 centimeters more than most of the 85mm lenses, because usually it is like 85mm, 85 centimeters when it comes to lenses like these. But you probably won't know a difference, because 5 centimeters is such a small distance, so that when you're just tilting like that, you're gonna be able to take a photo. So that is gonna be a non-issue. Okay, enough talk about the design and build quality. Let's get into the interesting stuff, the image quality of this lens, because I did not have high expectations of this lens because of the price, but it is really good, like really, really good. When you're shooting wide open with this lens at f1.4, this lens is actually sharper than the G Master, which is basically 3 or 4 times as much as this lens. And even if you stop down to f1.8, this lens is still better than the G Master. And it also handles the chromatic aberrations way better than the G Master as well. When it comes to the bokeh, I do think that the G Master lens does produce a better background or foreground blur, but that is mainly because the G Master lens has 11 aperture blades, I think, and this has only 9. But the only way that you actually will be able to tell the difference from the two if you put the exact same images side by side, and that is probably not gonna be the case for you when you are shooting with this lens. When it comes to the autofocus of this thing, I gotta say, like, I'm really impressed because I did do a review of the Samyang 85mm that you can check out right here, but I wasn't that impressed by the autofocus performance of that lens. But this one, on the other hand, is way better because it is really fast and the IAF works really good as well. I actually think that this lens is faster than the Sony G Master lens. When it comes to the video performance of this lens, this is where this lens just falls straight down flat into the ground and just explodes, because the autofocus in video is super unreliable, really bad, and basically crap. It did have a lot of issues, you know, hunting, back focusing, and front focusing. I don't know what kind of focusing it can do, but it did everything except doing it right. And you also don't have any kind of built-in image stabilization in this lens, which I personally think is really good if you're shooting a lot of handheld video. But since the autofocus is so bad in video mode, that won't be an issue for you probably, because yeah, you know, it's just, you don't buy this lens for video performance. So this lens is something that is mainly aimed toward like wedding photographers or portrait photographers, but I would recommend you to have an 85mm lens in your kit because it's a really good focal length and it gives you a really good background separation and all that. So I would highly recommend this lens above the G Master lens when it comes to photography, because this is actually better. Not so much when it comes to the video side, but you know, there's gotta be compromises for the price, right? So I'd love to hear your thoughts on the lens, because I think that super dangerous. Would you buy this lens or would you go for the G Master lens? Drop a comment below. Thank you so much for watching. Really hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you did, make sure you give it a thumbs up because it does help a lot, so thank you for that. If you haven't subscribed yet, that'd be really appreciated as well, and until next time, take care. Ja, nej men ska vi se här nu. Nu är det dags att åka och handla. Så att nu får vi snabba oss.